الله لا إله إلا هو له الأسماء الحسنى.
أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السابقون الأولون من المهاجرين والأنصار والذين اتبعوهم بإحسان رضي الله عنهم ورضوا عنه وأعد لهم جنات تجري تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها أبدا ذلك الفوز العظيم. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. رب زدني علما رب زدني علما رب زدني علما رب زدني عملا رب زدني عملا رب زدني عملا. My dear respected elders, brothers and sisters who are listening to my speech, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In the month of Dhul Hijjah, Hazrat Usman radiallahu ta'ala anhu got martyred and shaheed on the 18th of Dhul Hijjah, which I spoke on last week. I think so. Today is the 28th of Dhul Hijjah. And on the 28th of Dhul Hijjah, Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu got stopped. And he got martyred shaheed on the 1st of Muharram. So today I like to briefly explain some of the biography of Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu. I bear a touch on it. So what you have to know is Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu was born about 40 years before Hijrah, before Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam migrated, about 40 years before Hijrah. He embraced Islam at the age of 27. And Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu in the beginning was one of the biggest enemy of Islam. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam made a dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and said, Allahumma a'izz al-Islam. O Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, give izzat and respect to Islam through either Umar or either Abu Jahl. That was the conclusion of the dua. He made the dua that one of them embraced Islam. Nabi alayhi salatu was salam made the dua, Allahumma a'izz al-Islam. O Allah, give izzat and respect to Islam through Abu Jahl or Umar Ibn Al-Khattab radiyallahu ta'ala. Now this is a call, a direct connection between Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam made the dua over here. On the other side, Umar Ibn Al-Khattab radiyallahu ta'ala anhu made firm intention to execute Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, to perish, murder, and qatl kare Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He made his way, he was coming on the way to murder and execute Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. On the way, he was told that, where are you heading towards? He said, today I want to finish Islam. So he was told that, why don't you worry about your family first? He said, why? He said, your sister and your brother-in-law has accepted Islam. So he turned his direction. He was heading towards Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He turned around and he came to the house of his sister. The conclusion of what he done is he entered the house. Before he entered the house, he heard that his sister and his brother-in-law were learning Quran from someone. So the moment they heard his footsteps and they realized Umar coming, they hid the warak and whatever pages they have, whatever Quran was written on by them, they hid that away. And Umar radiallahu ta'ala entered and barged the house and started beating his sister and brother-in-law. And he said, I've heard that you have embraced Islam. Leave this religion and come back to your ancestors' religion. His sister is the sister of Umar radiallahu ta'ala. She said, Umar, you can take our life, but you cannot take the Islam out of our hearts. She's bleeding. Her body, she's bleeding from her face and everywhere. And in that state, she says, you can do anything, Umar, but not take the Islam out of our heart. Umar radiallahu ta'ala said to her that before I barged in, you were reading something. Could you show me what you're reading? Remember, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam made this dua, Allahumma a'izz al-Islam. So she said, yes, I can show you that, but you need to be purified and pak and clean to touch the Quran. So do wudu. She made him do wudu. He's just kafir yet. So touching the Quran without wudu, this is also indicated is not allowed. So he done wudu and he purified himself. And then she started reading Taha. طه ما أنزلنا عليك القرآن لتشقى إلا تذكرة لمن يخشى تنزيلا ممن خلق الأرض والسماوات العلى الرحمن على العرش استوى له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وما بينهما وما تحت الثرى وإن تجهر بالقول فإنه يعلم السر وأخفى الله لا إله إلا هو له الأسماء الحسنى وهل أتاك حديث موسى إذ رأى نارا فقال لأهل امكثوا إني آنست نارا لعلي آتيكم منها بقبس أو أجد على النار هدى فلما أتاها نودي يا موسى إني أنا ربك فاخلعن عليك. When she came to this ayat, إنني أنا الله لا إله إلا أنا فاعبدني وأقم الصلاة لذكري. إنني أنا الله. Basically, Haq Ta'ala said to Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, Innani, I am your Lord. I'm Allah. Innani, an Allah. La ilaha illa ana. There's no worthy of worship except for me. Fa'budni. So he told Haq Ta'ala told Musa alayhi salatu wasalam to worship me. But the ayats are general. So even innani and Allah, I am your Lord Allah. The moment Umar radiallahu ta'ala heard this, so his heart clicked and he was ready to embrace Islam. Innani and Allah la ilaha illa anfa'bud. He said to his sister, I'm embracing Islam. Now the same Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, who was heading towards Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to execute Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He makes a U-turn to first execute his sister and his brother-in-law because of their Islam. But it didn't happen. Why? Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had made the dua, Allahumma a'izz al-Islam. And there was a direct call between Allah and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And because of that dua, everything changed. and Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala is ready to embrace Islam. Now Umar radiallahu ta'ala wants to go by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now when he comes in the khidmat of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Darul Arqam, in the house of Arqam, that was the first madrasa in Islam. The first madrasa in Medina is Sufa. And the first madrasa in Islam is what? Darul Arqam. That's the first maktab of madrasa, where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to teach the Sahaba aqaid and deen Islam. Yeah? So this is where Rasulullah is preaching. Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala knocks the door, he wants to enter. Hamza radiallahu ta'ala is standing there. And he noticed that Umar wants to come inside. So Hazrat Hamza says to Umar that make sure your intentions are good. If you have any bad intention towards my nephew and my brother, you know, Hazrat Hamza radiallahu ta'ala is the uncle of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And because he was the similar kind of age of Hazrat Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so he was nursed by Thuwayba, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was nursed by Thuwayba. Thuwayba is the free slaver of Abu Lahab. So she gave milk to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam too, and also Hamza radiallahu ta'ala. So because they both drank milk, their wetness was what? Thuwayba. So the brothers, Rizai brothers too. So Hamza radiallahu ta'ala says that, you know, if you lay a finger on my brother and my nephew, I will slay you. I'll finish you off. So make sure your intention is clear. Hazrat Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam sees him coming. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam is the one that made that dua. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam knows now that my dua is accepted for who? Umar radiallahu ta'ala. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam says, let Umar enter. Let Umar enter. Let him come, I know what he's coming for. He comes and he says, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasul. He embraced Islam. I think so he's the 40th person who embraced Islam. Now that is newly, everything new. And all the Sahabas of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam are doing their salat secretly, hiddenly in Darul Arqam or their houses, not in Masjid al-Haram. Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala says, let's go and read salat in Masjid al-Haram in front of the Kaaba. The Sahaba says, how could that happen? They will slate us. They'll make mincemeat out of us. Hazrat Umar says, I've embraced Islam today, and if we do not go and read salat apparently in front of the mushrikeen in Makkah, and I do not announce that I've embraced Islam, then what's the point of me embracing Islam? Let's go. He went and took the Sahabas in, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam leading. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam led the salat in front of the Kaaba. Umar stood up and said, all the chiefs of Makkah, I announced that I'm Muslim now. If anyone wants to make their wife widows, come ahead. Make the children orphans, come ahead. Come. So this is the announcement. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu ta'ala says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give a lot of izzat and respect, all is because of who? Hazrat Umar radiyallahu ta'ala. So this one person give a lot of izzat and respect to Islam. This one person had so much respect, and haq was on the lisan of Umar radiyallahu ta'ala, that about 20 places Mufassirin writes he has similarity with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. 20 places. Where Hazrat Umar radiyallahu ta'ala on earth said, this should be done like this, Ya Rasulullah. Could it be done like this? I think so. My suggestion is be done like this. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the wahi that Umar is right. This is the correct way to do it. Give you an example. In Fatah Makkah, it was a Hajjatul Wida, sorry. In Hajjatul Wida, when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam performed Hajj, Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala said, Ya Rasulullah, by Maqami Ibrahim, we should read 2 rakat nafal, meaning after every tawaf we finish. You know, when you do one tawaf means 7 circulation around the Kaaba. So 7 circulation around the Kaaba, if you're on the ground floor, it might take 10 minutes to, nowadays 1 hour or 40 minutes, whatever. If you're on the second floor or the top floor, it takes about 1 hour, 1 hour 5 minutes, 1 hour 10 minutes, or 1 hour, or 45 minutes. It depends how fast you can walk. So 7 circulation around the Kaaba. And after the 7 circulation, we should read 2 rakat nafal, Ya Rasulullah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, it is a good idea. But Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not affirm it. Because the affirmation has to come from who? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says this ayat, وَاتَّخِذُوا مِن مَقَامِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ مُصَلَّى. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, read 2 rakat nafal by Maqam Ibrahim. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says Maqam Ibrahim, it means anywhere in Haram. So this is one of the similarity of Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there's several examples. Give you one more example or a few. Ma kana li nabiyyin. This ayat in Surah Al-Anfal, basically when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam won the battle of Badr, and in that battle Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam captured 70 mushrikeen, idolaters. Now the discussion is, do we free them and take fidya and take money for them? Or should we slate them, execute them all? Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu and Talha radiallahu ta'ala anhu said to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya Rasulullah, every relative should execute his own mushrik relative. So if I have any relative, I should execute my relative. Any hard rishtedar apne rishtedar ko mare. So Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala said, Ya Rasulullah, we need money. We are poor. Free them and take wealth for them. And Rasulullah was also inclined to the idea and the consolation of Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala. Hazrat Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam said to Hazrat Umar, your mizaj and your tabiyat and your fitrat and your nature is like Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam. What did Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam say? Rabbi la tadhar ala al-ardi min al-kafirin dayyara. Ya Allah, finish all this stuff. Finish them. Clear cut this earth from them. And said to Abu Bakr, your mizaj and your tabiyat and your fitrat and nature is like Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. He had a lot of mercy, Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. Making still dua for his kafir father until he wasn't told not to make. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam took the advice of Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not like that and said, Ma kana li nabiyyin an yakuna lahu asra hatta yuthkhina fil ard. Yuriduna arada ad-dunya wallahu yuridu al-akhirah wallahu azizun hakim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, indicated to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that whatever you have decided, that's not right. Indicated the advice of Umar radiallahu ta'ala was right. So this is a similarity of Umar radiallahu ta'ala. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, had it not be Umar and Talha, if they were not here and it was not for their advice, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would finish all of his azab. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have come. So these are about 20 similarity of Umar radiallahu ta'ala and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these are some of the virtues. You know, Sahaba say that whenever we hear Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam say, I've come from here, I went here, I did this. He never used to say just me. He used to say, me and Abu Bakr and Umar done this, said this, went there, came from here, we sat there. So Sahaba said that Rasulullah used to always mention, me, Abu Bakr, Umar done this. Me and Abu Bakr, Umar went there. Me and Abu Bakr say this. So we realize that these three people will be together all the time. It says, alright, when Abu Lu'lu Feroz stopped Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala on the 26th of Dhul Hijjah in Fajr Salat. Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala came to the mihrab leading Fajr Salat, and Abu Lu'lu hid behind the member waiting for Hazrat Umar radiallahu to say Allahu Akbar. The moment he said Allahu Akbar, when they used to read Salat, they had the strict correction by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They did not know what's coming, and it used to be dark. He started Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala with a poison dagger. Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala fell, indicated to Abdurrahman ibn Auf radiallahu ta'ala to complete the Salat. Abdurrahman ibn Auf radiallahu ta'ala comes ahead to lead the Salat. It's called istikhlaf. So if anyone breaks the wudu or anything like that, the Imam taps someone and the other person comes to lead the Salat, complete the Salat. That is where Hazrat Umar, that's what Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala done. Abdurrahman ibn Auf radiallahu ta'ala quickly completed the Salat. Meantime, the Persian slave tried to go through the Sahabas, and they were in the sufufs. He couldn't go through the Sahabas because the Sahabas sufufs usually tight. So he had to stop another few Sahabas, about 10 or 15, 20 Sahabas he stopped, and still not go through. So he committed suicide over there, he killed himself there. Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala stopped, the Sahabas came and picked him up. They take him home, and he says, who stopped me? Is it a Muslim or Kafir? They said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. So this laqab first given to who? Umar radiallahu ta'ala. Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, you've been stopped by a Kafir. He said, Alhamdulillah, as long as my blood is not on the hand of a mu'min and a believer, that's okay. When he realized that I'm not going to make it, he appointed a committee of about 6 people to appoint a Khalifa. And then he said that I want to be resting by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But that is the house of who? Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha. So he sent his son Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu and said, ask Aisha radiallahu ta'ala for permission so I can be buried by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Conclusion, she granted permission. But Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala said, still, when I pass away, ask again if she, maybe out of my fear, my robe, my terror, she has given permission, and ask again too. Anyway, Sahaba says that when Rasulullah when Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala knows, they were taking the janazah of Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala and burying Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala next to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Basically, this is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. At the back of the chest of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is Abu Bakr, and at the back of the chest of Umar radiallahu ta'ala of Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala is who? Hazrat Umar. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam facing the Qibla like that, and at the back of him of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala resting facing the chest of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Umar radiallahu ta'ala is resting at the back of the chest of Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala. The Sahaba says that someone was tapping us from the back. When I looked, it was Ali radiallahu ta'ala. Ali radiallahu ta'ala saying that I knew that Umar radiallahu ta'ala will be buried by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because I used to hear Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam say so many times, abundantly, that me, Abu Bakr or Umar have done this. Me, Abu Bakr, Umar have come from here. and me, Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala, and Umar radiallahu ta'ala are saying this. So this Sahabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, named Umar. His name is Umar, father's name is bin Khattab, and Farooq is Laqab, and also his Laqab is Amirul Mu'mineen. Kuniyat is Abu Hafs. And his one and his daughter is married to who? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Hafsa radiallahu ta'ala anha, and he himself also married Ummi Kulthum, the daughter of Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu. He also married the daughter of Ali. You know, Kulthum, one wife is who? The daughter of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who was married to who? Usman radiallahu ta'ala, who I mentioned last. When Ali radiallahu ta'ala had one of his daughters, he named one of his daughter Kulthum, who was in the nikah of who? Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu. So this Sahabi of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam got stabbed on the 26th of Dhul Hijjah, today is 28th, and got shaheed on the 1st of Muharram. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
الله لا إله إلا هو